Hello and welcome to the latest edition of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. I am SOT Publisher Pete Pardo, your host. Today is Monday, December the 1st. Welcome. We've got a very special show here for you today. As I mentioned last week, we are going to be focused mainly on the Led Zeppelin remasters. So far, the first 4 albums have been re-released in remastered format. We've got Zeppelin I, II, III, IV, also called Untitled, Zofo, Zoso, many different names for it, as well as Houses of the Holy. So first, let me just kind of talk a little bit about the Led Zeppelin catalog in general. And, they actually remastered all their albums back in 1994. So if you're like me, you've been a Zeppelin fan most of your life, you probably already had the albums on the LPs back in the day. You might have had some cassettes. Maybe you bought the initial CD pressings, the 1994 remasters, or perhaps you bought that big box set that had almost everything on it. So now here we are in 2014, and should we be buying these again? That's the kind of question I posed to myself just real recently. They released the first 3 albums, I believe, in late 2013. Houses of the Holy and Zeppelin IV just came out recently. I have all the 1994 remasters. For the most part, they sound pretty good. Packaging's kind of lackluster on them. The sound is decent. I wouldn't say great. These albums probably were never great sounding to begin with, but, for their time, the Zeppelin catalog was some pretty daring stuff. The band mixed, heavy rock and blues with folk, probably like no other band before or after. So, all the material is pretty classic, but, could it sound better? So when I first started hearing about this remastered series, Dull Dumb by Jimmy Page, I was intrigued because, I like the 94 versions, but like I said before, they could sound better. So I did some scouring on the internet to see what other people's reviews were, and most of the feedback has been pretty positive as far as the sound quality, as far as the bonus tracks, and the packaging. So I went for it, and I picked up all the ones that are available right now, so I figured we'd take a little look at them here. So first up, we've got Zeppelin I, the classic Zeppelin I. As far as the sound quality, it's pretty damn good. One of the things that I find universally throughout all these first 5 remasters is that Jimmy Page has done an excellent job with kind of, I'm going to say, separating the instruments a bit. So, if you listen to those the old remaster or the old albums, they are products of their time. Robert Plant's vocals and Jimmy Page's guitars are way up front. There's a little bit of muddiness to some of these recordings, but for the most part, they're always pretty good. Here on these new remasters done by Jimmy Page, there's kind of a separation of all the instruments, and I think that really benefits John Paul Jones and John Bonham the most. Plant and Page are still way up there, but now all of a sudden you hear these little bass bits and all these extra drums that maybe you hadn't heard before. And if the songs have little bits of keyboards by John Paul Jones or some harmonica by Plant, you're hearing them a little more prevalent in the mix, which I kind of like. And there's this crystal clear, this really great clarity to all these recordings that if you have a halfway decent stereo, you're going to hear that little bit of difference, or listen to them on headphones especially. But I listen to these in the car, as well as on a really good stereo system I have in my living room through the Blu-ray player, and they sound pretty good. So Zeppelin I, so here they're all digipacks, by the way, so open them up. You've got the original back cover, you got a lot of photographs in here, and that, I'm a packaging guy, and I was really intrigued by what you get with the booklets here. So again, you look through, and all sorts of vintage photographs. If you're a fan, many of them you've probably never seen before. Most of it's live, some stuff in the studio. Pretty cool stuff. And then you've got on the last page a breakdown of both discs. So the bonus disc here, you've got the Live at the Olympia from Paris, France, October 1969. Been available as a bootleg for quite many years. But folks are going to want to have this all nice and cleaned up, sounding pretty good. It's a elevated bootleg, so don't expect something on as far as the quality of Song Remains the Same as far as the live album goes. So but really good. And there's some great versions of I Can't Quit You Baby, and How Many More Times on here is great. It's almost 11 minutes long. You got You Shook Me, great. You know, Page is just awesome on this, and Plant is just shrieking up a storm. 15-minute version of Dazed and Confused. I mean, you know, you really can't go wrong. So, first one, as far as I'm concerned, is a must-have if you're at all on the fence about considering purchasing any of these. Let's jump on over to Zeppelin II. All right. Again, the sound quality very, very good. You know, open it up. You remember that if you have the album. More photographs. Let's take a look at the booklet, shall we? So again, you know, lots of cool photographs, many never seen before, a lot of live stuff, shots from in the studio. I love these great festivals, open air festival shots, classic. Hopefully you can kind of see these a bit. The back page again gets all the information on the original album and the bonus tracks. So here we've got a lot of different rough mixes and alternate versions of songs from the album, and some with and without vocals, which is kind of neat. A couple of these tunes are, you know, you hear all the subtle differences in the early mixes and the early versions of these. So, you know, some of the guitar solos might be a little bit different. Some of Plant's vocals are a little bit different. You know, just little subtle differences here and there. It makes for a fascinating listen. Again, I don't know how many times someone is going to go back and listen to all these alternate takes and mixes and things like that. But, you know, for a couple listens, it's pretty cool. Again, sound very, very good. So another one well worth getting. You're hearing it here, Zeppelin III. This has kind of been like my go-to Zeppelin album over the last couple of years. You know, when I was younger, to me this album wasn't heavy enough, wasn't rocking enough. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten really to appreciate what's going on here. So, very cool thing. We've got the turn wheel, whatever you want to call it, is intact here. The inside of the album, you know, like I said, if you had the original, you recognize all this. On this one, the CD is located in the middle, CD1 is located in the middle, CD2 is located here along with the booklet. Let's take a look at that, shall we? So again, all sorts of great photographs in the studio from the concert stage. You know, just fantastic stuff. If you're a fan, you're going to want to see all this. Again, on this bonus disc, we've got some alternate takes, some of the tracks without vocals, all instrumental. What I kind of like here is Jennings Farm Blues, which is, I'll leave it up to you to check out, but it's one of the songs from the album. It's normally acoustic. Here it is. It's very early incarnation with mostly electric guitars, kind of neat. Key to the Highway, Trouble in Mind, a nice little blues jam. You know, just some really, really good stuff. Since I've Been Loving You with a different Page guitar solo. You know, and even on some of the regular tracks, due to the remastering that Jimmy Page did, you're going to hear some little bits, some little vocals here and there, some little guitar textures, as well as some little keyboard passages and things that maybe you've never heard before, which I kind of think is pretty cool. All right, we're going to jump over to Zeppelin IV. Let's see. You know, again, most of this is going to be familiar to you if you have the album. Again, this is new, so open air festival shot. Nice little studio shot. Let's go on to the booklet here. And, you know, I'm kind of beating a dead horse, but just some really, really cool photographs. There we got the lyrics, the Stairway, the track list. Some cool artwork, more photos, and some more information on the tracks on both discs. So disc 1 is the actual album itself. I really like the remaster job on this. Battle of Evermore is just simply gorgeous here. Stairway to Heaven is Stairway to Heaven. It's crystal clear, really, really nice. Rock and Roll, I'm hearing a little more piano in this new remaster. Going to California, really lovely here. But When the Levee Breaks is kind of the revelation of this album. There's a lot of really cool musical passages that I'm hearing now for the first time, even after I've listened to this song a million times before. In fact, the harmonica at the intro is really powerful, more up front in the mix than previously. You know, disc 2, it's okay. Nothing really great on here. You know, Battle of Evermore is kind of stands out on here. It's just the mandolin and guitar mix, no vocals. It's kind of neat to hear. Otherwise, you know, Black Dog is the basic track with guitar overdubs. Kind of cool, not a lot different. Rock and Roll, it's an alternate mix, kind of the same. Stairway to Heaven is pretty cool, different guitar solo, which might be appealing. You got basically all the other tunes are on here as well. Varying degrees of differentness, just some subtle changes here and there. One thing I did want to mention, some people are kind of bitching about the backs of these CDs, the digipacks, these like negative shots of the actual cover. I don't really care. It's pretty cool. All the other stuff is on the inside, so it's okay by me. Houses of the Holy. Kind of cool. It's got this, which came in the original album, so you pull that off, and you're going to see all this cool stuff there. Let's take a look at the booklet, shall we? Again, some just great shots, some candid stuff, live stuff, lyrics, more photos, really cool photos. Really cool photos. Bonham in action, just check that out. And information on the tracks. So disc 1 sounds great. The song remains the same. Sounds really killer here. The Rain song is. I just can't stress enough how great the Rain song sounds with Page's new remaster. It's a great song anyway, but it's just stupendous. All these little, the mellotron, the electric piano, and just the guitars and the vocals, and no quarter is just killer on here. This is just a moody, menacing track, and it's just all that more powerful on here. The Ocean rocks. Disc 2, again, you've got some, the Rain song, different mix minus piano. You got Over the Hills and Far Away, it's a guitar mix, backing track. You got some rough mixes. The Crunge is on here with keyboards kind of raised in the mix. No quarter with additional keyboards from John Paul Jones. Again, decent. Bonus tracks are decent. I think the first 3 albums have the most interesting bonus material, but what I really like about Houses of the Holy and Zeppelin IV are, I think, the quality of the remaster is just really, really good. You're going to really enjoy these. So, again, do you need to buy these? That's up to you. If you're a big fan, I'm a big Zeppelin fan. I was just too intrigued not to. For me, I think the thought of the remaster, the sound being slightly better, which it is. Trust me, it is. The bonus tracks were intriguing enough. There's some good stuff on here, a few of which I'll be revisiting more than a few times. The packaging was over the top for me. I mean, that was kind of my the final thing that made me decide to take the plunge, because I was looking at the packaging on those 94 remasters, and there's nothing much to talk about there. So these are really, really cool. So I'm anxiously awaiting Physical Graffiti and Presence and In Through the Outdoor and hopefully Coda, but we'll see. That would be a nice surprise. So anyway, I'll leave it up to you whether you decide you want to go out and buy these, but like I said, if you're a true fan, you probably either already have or you're planning to. I give them my 2 thumbs up, so the rest is up to you. So with that, I leave you. Make sure you check us out on www.seaoftranquility.org. We hope you've liked this little Led Zeppelin show here, or the Led Zeppelin remaster show, I want to call it. So till next week, have a good one, and take care. Bye-bye.